Trevor will be right here in the city. Is on his way.
Well, I know that all four of you then have to vote on, and nobody else can vote. I think if you don't show the public hearing, you can't vote on the.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He messaged me, he said he's on his way.
Okay, so we're live streaming right now. Just so you know.
Nobody did see it.
Yeah, you know, I'll make it 5:30 still.
Sure. Thanks for coming.
What's that?
Thanks for coming.
Oh,
I enjoyed the crowd, so we got a few more.
See, just see.
I'll try not to stare at you all the time while I make you uncomfortable. As I address the crowd.
I'm sure it's probably said every year, but maybe one year we should be.
It's not his report that he's doing, but it's the actual plan itself. Or the budget.
Doesn't look like it's going
It's
to.
not a it's not
Don't even know.
alrighty, guys, I got 5:30, so we should call this hearing to order. The purpose of this hearing is to provide information to the public about the financial situation of the town of Paw and assist the public to understand how tax dollars are being spent. This is an opportunity for public participation and input in the town's short and long-term goals. And I do believe that our CAO has a presentation he wishes to share with the public. If you wouldn't mind, please do.
Okay, so I have a presentation, I've got a projector here, and I'll just flip through the slides. The presentation is available online on our website for those of you at home, and a copy of the financial plan is as well. Okay, let's get started. So this year, I like to start this out the same, a little bit of a summary of where we're going to go. In 2021, this is a breakdown of what this presentation is going to look like. I'll get into the details of each one. But I like to start with a little bit of information on how assessments work. Not everybody knows how this works. I think that we're out there putting assessments on people's properties. So the assessments is actually completed by a provincial branch of, or a branch of the provincial government, the Municipal Government Assessment Services. Our branch is located in Swan River. And so they're the ones that determine the value of every property in town. They're the ones that set that value, and we'll send you correspondence. And the estimated value is supposed to be in line with market rate, and typically is fairly reasonably close. So, in 2021, we did see a slight change in the assessment total for the town, but it's overall nominal. It's a nominal increase of about $184,000, which is about 0.09%. So a little more information on how assessment works in terms of how it applies to our budget. We've got $12,400,000 budgeted expenses in 2021. We have some other revenues that come in from other sources. Debentures get set as their own rates. We pull that out. Business taxes are removed. It reduces the total tax allowance to the nominal amount. So the total cost to taxpayer in our budget for municipal purposes is $6.9, almost $7 million. And this is divided by the assessment to give us a mill rate estimate of 35.396 for 2021. And then there's an additional 2.566, which is associated with debentures. So here's a comparison of the 20 and 21 rates. Broken down by category. A little more detail in showing where this is coming from. The at-large captures the majority of what we do and services we provide. The road work, the policing, the fire services, stuff like that. We do have broken out to show which money is contributing into the reserves for our long-term investments, debentures. We do have a recovery in 2021 for 2019. We'll talk about that a little bit more. And the Kelsey School Division and school rates are listed in there as well. to see, again, a nominal increase between $75 and a $100,000 mark for assessment value. The net mill rate change is 1.662. Welcome. So that plays right here, please. Again, a little bit of a breakdown of, more breakdown of how the assessment works. Since we do have a change in assessment that factors into how people are paying their taxes and what the taxes are, a little bit more of a breakdown in, the $180 per $1,000 change. More assessment equals a net less for everybody, so in this case 0.09. So there's a decrease overall in what people would have had to pay in 2021 based on the assessment change, but there was an increase in terms of other factors. So what's new for 2021? The deficit recovery. So on both our funds, we have two funds. We have an operating fund and a utility fund. Our most recent financial statements, the 2019 statements, we had a deficit of $273,000, which is about 2%. So it's fairly nominal overall compared to our budget. We will be looking to recover that. Unrecovered deficits typically turn into cash flow problems. In 2020, we're looking at probably a nominal surplus. It's not, the audit's not complete yet, but we're not anticipating a recovery for 2020 at this time. On the utility fund, there was a very nominal deficit, $29,000, which is less than 1%, which we'll be recovering through the rates. So, and in 2020, we are probably looking at a deficit, but the final number is unknown. Policing costs. I bring this up every year because it's substantial in our budget. So we're looking at another increase potentially for policing. It goes up every year in terms of wage costs going up, service costs going up. So we're looking at a 2021 cost of $2.68 million. We did revise it a little lower based on some good results in 2020. This represents about 16.6% of the total budget. I also made a point here about the town had budgeted to plan to pursue a community safety officer program in 2021. This will be something that will tie into the bylaw and hopefully help address some of our homeless related issues. A little bit of an update on development. There was the lake lots continue to see development out there. I think we saw 4 or 5 of them finish this year, so we're expecting to see those increases on our assessment in 2021 or 2022 later in the year. We also saw a sale of an industrial lot on Warsh this year, so hopefully we'll see a little bit of bump in assessment going forward from that. And the zoning bylaw is just close to completion now. I think we're finalized, and hopefully that's going to help us address some of the development on half lots. A little bit of a shameless plug here. We currently own 14 lots that are for sale in the town, and we would love to talk to anybody interested in purchasing them. So financial strategy 2021. I always like to start this with, we're always looking at ways to be more efficient and effective. We're looking at grants. We like to look at ways we can reduce our costs overall, where there's efficiencies to be made. We're going to continue to do so. The most recent project where we were able to capture that was the Civic Center boilers, which rolled into 2021 and was just completed. We're hoping to see some reporting in the near future that shows how effective that was. We did submit an application just this week to the Municipal Service Delivery Improvement Program, which is a service being offered by the Government of Manitoba. And no cost to taxpayers. They will look at some of the programs offered by the town and provide recommendation and advice on efficiency and efficacy. Again, I like to make the point that we are in a position where we have a significant amount of aging infrastructure in the town. And as it continues to age, it's more and more prone to failure. We're trying to tackle it as money allows to do major renovations to avoid that, but just the awareness that the ongoing repairs can be quite costly and draw heavily on our resources. So how are my tax dollars allocated? Here's a bit of a breakdown of year to year, 2021, 2020, on how things are allocated. Not a huge change between the years. Some slight increases, decreases. The major red herring here is the deficit recovery from 2019. Debentures, we do have a significant amount of debt we're paying down. Most of them are nearing completion. We have 2 slated for 2025 completion and 1 for 2027. So in the next 5 to 7 years, we will be clear of those. And we have a new debt coming in, we're anticipating related to the lagoon, and that'll be carried by the ratepayers of the utility.
What does that mean, Graham, just so everybody's aware of that?
In terms of the
The ratepayers for the utility?
So there's 2 ways that you can pay for debentures. One way is, since we have 2 funds, we have an operating fund and a utility fund. On the tax operating side, commonly you'll have a mill rate associated directly with the debenture payments year to year. In this case, the way we proceeded with the lagoon upgrade debenture was to tie it to the utility rates. So there'll be a slight increase to the utility rates for the ratepayers for water and sewer, and that will contribute to the payments for each year's debentures. And one of the rationales for this approach was the debt is directly associated with the service provided, so it makes more sense from a layman basis. Onto the reserves. This is something we do every year. We try our best to maintain contributions into the reserves for our long-term and larger projects. In this year, there's a breakdown of what we have going into the reserves. The total for that is $1.8 million. And then we have withdrawals of almost twice that this year. A bit unusual, but the lagoon being a very large project is peeling out 2/3 of that number. A bit of a breakdown. I always find it odd that airport is buried in public works transportation, so I like to show what those numbers are separately. The total for transportation for 2021, $2.1 million. There's airport costs of $738,000, which is a bit unusual this year and low due to the traffic out there. And so the net cost of public works for the community is about $1.4 million.
Yeah, just to jump back for 1 second, that lagoon upgrade, the money that's coming out of the reserves will be captured by the ratepayer later.
No, so the money coming out of the reserves is the town's contribution. We every year put a little bit away into that reserve, typically somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000, just based on the rates that are ongoing. The debt, so there's the town portion of the lagoon of $17 million is approximately 6.1. I think it's on a later slide. 4.8 of that is debt, 2.1 of that is.
But typically, in most years, the airport makes money, therefore, their percentage can go into there.
Yeah, we always budget in a situation where the airport's breaking even. However, sometimes that's not the case. It is still just a department of the town. It depends on the revenues associated with that. So they kind of go through an up and down series. In general, I think if we were to look at the last 10 years, we'd be pretty close to breaking even. This last year has been difficult for the airport. Grants. So there was a bit of a reduction in the grants this year. There's a listing year to year of the 2. The most significant ones we pay, the recycling center, the library. The CDC one includes some in-kind for office rent, staff that's through the town, and then an agreement back to CDC. So that is that. There was some outliers that never applied this year.
What would that be?
Usually the animal shelter, the arts council, usually do send in applications. The bathroom, the kitchen,
Community shelter.
the chapels typically applies, but they came in and said that they were discontinuing their services here. So, actually, we did a little bit of research, Jen did a little research on this, and they think we're going to be able to apply this to the community safety officer program, which is going to be a big win for us. So it's someone not coming out of our pockets. Surplus equipment sale, as part of our internal review process, we retire equipment every year. We're planning on our annual sale being in the fall. A few pieces of equipment going up for sale that are being aged out. And again, reference back to the surplus lot continuation. We acquired a few lots, both from development and through tax sale over the years. And we're always looking to get those into the hands of someone who's looking to develop or renovate. The capital side, so this year in capital, obviously the major project here is the lagoon, $17.4 million. It is a huge project for us. The municipal portion, 60-40 by the province getting funded, which is great. The municipal portion being $6.9 million. As you know, 4.8 is estimated as the debt, 2.1 as the reserve deduction. We have a few smaller items on here. The fire tanker is fairly large. We're probably not anticipating actually buying the tanker this year. It's probably going to be a 2022 purchase, but we want to proceed and start getting that lined up. It'll be a lengthy process to get it built, likely. A few carryover smaller items. I will note the brickwork on the museum. It was on last year, carried on to this year. We included here because we're just not sure yet, and it's tied to grant funding. The other larger one here that we're still working out the details on is the ballpark and pathway lighting for the winter park. It relies very heavily on grant funding. So we've got applications in, and we are waiting to hear back. So that'll be a big win for the community if we can get that worked out. Looking forward onto the 5-year, there is a few major items that we expect to replace. Just again, mostly due to age. The 2010 Vactor is looking at 2023, a couple years in the future, at an estimated $350,000. The 2010 Hitachi excavator, again, just getting older, $350,000 in 2025, and the loader, we have a loader as well, so $235,000 in 2026. We are considering and looking at our options for an automated garbage truck system and bin system associated with that. We have an estimated cost in here, but more details to come. And that concludes my presentation. I've got my contact information on here. I can answer questions afterwards. I'm happy to take questions now from our student guests.
Just one question. I was wondering what impact this new Bill 71 will have that reduces the rebate for property owners and seniors for the education tax. It used to be $700 per household. Now it's going to be reduced to $500 or something.
So, I mean, I can speak a little bit about it. It's not really our program. So, as I understand it, the rebate attached to your taxes is going to go down a little bit. However, they're issuing out rebate checks in the month that taxes are due. And together, those combined amounts should equal 25% more, right? So you should see a little bit more cash in your pocket overall. They've got a bit of an infographic. I can email it to you. They have like a release that shows the breakdown on how they've calculated it. And it's a little bit different. Like I said, seniors have a different rate, businesses are a different rate, and individuals have a different rate as well. And then it tied back, they had some commentary about renters as well, saying that since the landowners are getting a rebate this year, that would tie renter or landlords from raising rent for the next 2 years as well. So they're expecting 25% overall this year, I think, and then 50 next year. So the rebate should go higher next year as well.
And it's a 10-year program, correct? It's supposed to be over 10 years. First, they're doing seniors and farmland owners, and then they're supposed to expand to other areas to eventually eliminate.
Correct.
That's-
That was their
that's-
promise. That was their
that's-
campaign promise, was
that's
to
their
eliminate it, and this is their stages along the way. So it should be a net benefit for everyone involved. So we'll see how it actually applies out to the users of it. Anything else?
No, I can look online for the rest of that.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's all online, the presentation's online too. Like I said, feel free to call me or send me an email, my contact information's all there. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any other questions, discussion?
Anything on Facebook? Or on the-
This is for, no comments.